If I were to ask you, does your boss have an accurate sense of your competence or expertise? What would you answer? I think for many people watching this video, they would answer, my boss doesn't recognize my ability at all, or I'm constantly being overlooked, or people who are less competent than me get a lot more recognition from my boss. Not being seen as competent in the workplace or not as competent as you actually are is an all too common dilemma that many emerging leaders face in the workplace. It's easy to blame your boss and to say they're blind and they just don't see how competent you are, but in many cases it's things you do that prevent other people from seeing your competence in the workplace. Like not openly sharing your thoughts and ideas. This is a mistake that I often see in the workplace where people hold back from sharing their opinions, their ideas, or their perspectives with others that they work with. And they do this for two reasons. The first is they don't want to appear that they're showing off. And the second reason is that they want to let other people talk instead. They want to let others share their ideas instead because they think it is the polite thing to do. You might think that you're being humble or polite by doing this, but what happens when you hold back from sharing your thoughts and ideas is that people will think you don't have any thoughts at all. They will think you don't have anything to add because you are not competent in your job. In a way, you get penalized for being too humble at work, and your perceived level of competence can be really damaged as well. So I encourage you, when you're in a conversation with a colleague, when you're in a meeting and you have an idea, you have a thought you want to share with people, share it. Don't keep it to yourself. Don't hold it in, because when you do that, you will never get the recognition that you want. Another mistake I see people make is they don't develop an entrepreneurial or creative mindset, and they don't come up with their own work processes or workflows. In a way, I do understand why people are reluctant to do this. It's because when you're entry level or even mid-level in your career, your job is to follow processes that other people have designed before you. And your ability to get promoted to the next level position, it hinges on how well you can actually follow that particular process. But the thing is, when you really want to move up into leadership and when you want to prove your competence to other people, following what has been set out before you isn't going to make you stand out. It will make you look like you know how to follow the rules, which is a good thing, but it's missing that bold entrepreneurial element that only truly competent people have. So I encourage you to think about how you can start to do this in your job without stepping on anyone's toes, of course. And for those people who are seen as more competent in the workplace, they don't keep their knowledge or their processes to themselves. They share their knowledge and their processes with other people because they know that when they do this, it promotes and even augments their perceived level of competence as well. It's like an extension of what we talked about in point 1 of this video, where you not only share your thoughts and ideas with other people, but on top of that, you actively teach them what you know, so they know how to do what you know how to do. The reason this works is because it puts you in the position of being a teacher, of being an expert, of being somebody who has an elevated level of knowledge compared to everyone else around you. In other words, somebody who has a high level of perceived competence. There are many ways that you can teach what you know. You can do it in general conversations. You can share your knowledge. You can do it more formally by holding lunch and learn presentations for your co-workers. You could write LinkedIn posts teaching people online what you know, or you could write blog posts or articles or even write a book. It's really about finding the medium that you are most comfortable with. Some people might prefer LinkedIn, others might like writing articles, some people might even like recording podcast episodes. So find which medium you feel more comfortable with and that you can do really well, and try to perfect that over time. And it's also about finding the medium that will help you stand out the most with the people that you want to get to, the people that you want to reach with your message. So also think about what medium they would listen to or watch or read the most. How do they get their information, right? So think about that before you decide on which medium you are going to use to try to spread your knowledge so people can understand how competent you actually are. Now, circling back to sharing your ideas publicly. If you don't have any ideas of your own, which will happen from time to time, that is completely okay. You can still build and promote and augment your competence by building on other people's ideas. Now, to be clear, I don't mean stealing other people's ideas. That isn't what I'm talking about at all. That's not an ethical way to work in the business world. What I'm talking about here is letting other people share their ideas, listening to what their idea is. Then as you do that, seeing if there's a way that you can improve on that idea or extend on that idea at all, and then share that with the group. Now, in doing this, you're not only getting visibility for yourself and for your ideas, building onto your perceived level of competence, but you're also elevating that other person too. You're putting them in the light, and they will absolutely be thankful to you for doing this, because it helps to build their level of visibility in the workplace as well. And if the ideas you share are aligned with the company's goals, then this gives you extra points because it makes you look like an ultra competent emerging leader. I've touched on this in other videos like Get Seen by Senior Leadership in 2025, where I talk about connecting your work to what is valued in the organization. And in that video, I actually say that you'll be wasting time if you don't build visibility around work that is valued in the company that you work for. This is because when you do ancillary work, you're often not considered an integral part of the team. People might think that you're nice to have in the office because you do helpful work, but you won't be seen as someone who performs critical duties that are essential for the future growth of the company. And this is a place where you really need to be noticed if you want to be seen as somebody who is very competent in the workplace. So I encourage you to think of ways how you can align your work and even your ideas with the bigger corporate goals. Find out what your company values right now. You can easily learn this by looking at the corporate website, by reading company memos or announcements that they have, by keeping your ear open during meetings that you attend, or even having conversations with other senior managers. Then when you have identified what is valued, try to get involved in those projects so you can help on improving or working towards those goals. Now, one of the most important things that you need to understand before finishing this video is that the most effective way to be seen as more competent is to be confident, because competence and confidence are closely linked. The more competent you are, the more confidence you will feel, and the more confidence you will project outwardly to other people. This is when confidence is a reflection of your actual competence. Basically, you are confident because you have something to be confident about, and this is what people will see and assume when they look at you. But you can play with this in your favor, because people can't tell the difference between somebody who is confident because they have the actual ability or somebody who is just confident. And this is one of the biggest problems in assessing competence, actually. So in most cases, when people see you as being confident, they will assume it's for the more positive reason. They will assume that you are confident because you have something to be confident about. In other words, you are confident because you have the underlying competence in your area of expertise. Does that make sense? So where do you start working on your confidence? Well, you need to learn confident communication, which you can do so in this video up here. You also need to learn how to be confident in any situation at work, which you can learn in this video up here. Master these two areas and you'll be well on your way to appearing more competent in the workplace. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to check out my other resources like my podcast, like my weekly newsletter, and my Udemy courses. I will link to all of those in the description below. Thank you again for watching, and I'll see you next week in another video.